and I've tried to start this specific video about 4 different times. I'm using my Canon camera instead of my tiny vlogging camera on my phone, and I've tried propping it up on books, and now it's on my tripod. I don't know how long this is gonna last, but we're gonna give this a go. Let's talk about 2018, at least my 2018, because my 2018 was a year. I mean, honestly, it wasn't that much different than like the past year or so that I've had. I have some notes here in my notebook of like some highlights and some struggles that I went through because, I mean, it was a year. And I have some goals that I'd like to set for next year. I wrote things down so that I wouldn't get off track, because I tend to do that. So 2018 has had its good and bad moments. I have written down it's been a struggle for me mentally, which is true, which I'll get into. But let's start with some of the highlights, because we want to talk about some of the good first. So we're gonna start, I mean, I'll try and go in order, but this just might not be in order. So the best thing that happened to me this year was in March. I quit my job at the movie theater that I was working at, and wow, that was a great first job, and it helped me gain a lot of experience in customer service and just in general for future jobs. It was a very unhealthy environment, and it was just not a good space. So I left there, and I got a new job at a sporting goods store where I work retail in the clothing department, and I have been real happy since then, job-wise. I'll go into a little bit more about job stuff later, because we've got more to touch on there. I went on a lot of trips to the coast because I love the coast. I've gone with old coworkers, and no, actually I've just gone with old coworkers. Yeah, pretty much. I had a weekend trip to Spokane with my mom in March also, to see a play that my uncle helped put on, and just to kind of get away, and it was really nice. Another good thing is I in the summer I started going for walks around my neighborhood and stuff, just when I needed to get out, which led to renewing my gym membership and going to the gym more, and then like last month or so finally getting into a good workout schedule that I'm happy with and that makes me feel good, which I'm definitely going to keep doing into next year for sure. Okay, 2 things now that were some of the greatest things this year. Black Panther. Oh my god, Black Panther, you guys. That is one of my top 5 favorite movies to date. And I went to see it with a bunch of my old coworkers when it came out. We went to a Cinebar in Salem, and it was the first time I'd been to a movie theater like that, and it was one of the most fun experiences of my life. There were probably 8 or 9 of us that were able to get the night off and just jump in a couple cars and drive down, and it was great. And then in April, for my birthday, which I turned 25 this year. Oh man, I'm getting old, not really, but kinda. For my 25th birthday, my family and I went to see Infinity War. Oh my goodness, that messed me up, but I think it messed like everybody up. But see, I get really into movies when I go watch them. Like, I'm immersed and I'm into it and I react. I don't want to say insane, but let's just say near the end, I was curled up in my theater chair, sobbing and shaking. And it was embarrassing, but I mean, I couldn't help it. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about, and maybe some of you can relate, but I don't think I was the only one in the theater that was crying. I think we all cried at that movie, especially near like the very, very end. Someone's specific scene, you might know what I'm talking about. If you know what who cares about spoilers? Peter Parker, come on guys. Peter Parker's scene near the end with Tony Stark just broke me. I mean, so did Bucky's scene, because I love Bucky. And actually my dog is named after him. Yes, I am obsessed. But that movie was so, so good. I don't want to ramble about that for too long. So let's move on. Excited for Endgame. So excited, and also scared for Endgame. But yowza. Okay, moving on. I had a lot of opportunities to visit with family this year, mostly my dad's side. But that was nice because I haven't seen a lot of them in a while, and a lot of us got together that hadn't been together. There was like my aunt's surprise birthday party, and then there was a big multi-celebration weekend. Both of those videos are on my channel. Back then I wasn't as good at vlogging everything. I was still getting used to vlogging in public and around other people, and I'm a little better about that now, but it's still nice to have as like a reminder for me and for some other people. And I'm just really glad that I got to go and participate and see people and visit and keep connections with my family, because that's important to me. I always want to stay in touch. And let's see what else. Blah blah blah. I write a lot. I feel a lot of details are necessary because I'm a very visual person, and so I like to write a lot of details and notes and things. One thing I really had fun with was the Two Towns Harvest Party Cider Fest thing. That video is also up on my YouTube channel. It was the first time I'd ever heard of or done anything like that. And I would definitely do it again next year because, man, that was fun. This is gonna sound weird, but I've talked about this before. I love cartoons. I love watching cartoons because they just keep my inner child alive, and they help my imagination grow and stay, I don't know what the word is, stimulated maybe? But I discovered 4 particular cartoons this year, or was introduced to, or was reintroduced to 4 cartoons this year that have changed my life. So the first one was Steven Universe, which my friend Jacob introduced me to, and that show is a little, I thought it was strange at first, but you really get involved in the storyline, and also the color scheme is very calming. This is gonna sound weird, but if you watch Steven Universe, you'll know what I mean. Like the color scheme and the color palette is like, and the music, it's just soothing and it keeps you drawn in. So that was that one, and then right after Steven Universe came Adventure Time, and I know I'm late to that. I was late to that party, and I hopped on that train right before it ended, so that felt kind of nice. It's like I watched all 9 seasons that were on Hulu right before the 10th season was released, and I still have not seen the very, very last episode because I'm scared to watch it, because then it's like it's officially over. But I mean, I also don't know how to watch it because it's not on Hulu, so I need to find a way to watch it. And then next came Voltron Legendary Defender, which, guys, I could talk about this show for weeks or months because, oh my goodness, it is such a good show. Why is this beeping? Okay, it's such a good show, and if you like Adventure Time, Jeremy Shada voices a character in that show, so that's kind of what got me into it. Also, my old coworker was like talking about it nonstop, and I'd seen it online, and I was like, I might as well give this a shot. And that consumed my 2018, like waiting for the seasons to be released, watching any interviews, any Comic-Con interviews, following all their Twitters, waiting for any kind of content, released images, clips. It was great. it also broke me. I have suffered with the characters on that show. I can relate to them so much. Also, just for the record, I am Lance. And then the last one, The Dragon Prince, which I think I've also talked about. It's made by the same creators of Avatar: The Last Airbender. There's only one season right now, but the season 2 has been confirmed for this next year. And it's got a voice actor from Avatar in it, which that's kind of also what drew me into it. And the animation is just really good. And the storyline, and it's good. Moving on, because I'll talk about that forever. Vlogmas. I did Vlogmas for the first time. I woke up on December 1st and was like, I'm gonna try this. Let's go for it. So I did. And I've really had fun. I know sometimes it's been boring because I don't do a lot, and I just was trying to find anything I could use for footage. But I've learned my lesson, and my editing definitely improved through the month. So like the first week of my videos was meh, and I slowly figured out how to use my software and how to do certain effects and whatnot. So maybe if I do it next year, it'll be better. I don't know if I'm gonna vlog, and I want to keep vlogging. I don't know if I'm gonna do I'm definitely not gonna do daily vlogs, because goodness, that's a struggle. Maybe I'll do weekly vlogs. I don't know. I might go back to only vlogging when I do interesting stuff. But I like doing this for me. It's kind of a nice, like, video diary of sorts, and it's just, I don't know, it's nice to have for memories and things like that. And that's another thing, like posting on my channel more has been really fun, and figuring out tricks and things and whatnot. The last thing I have on my highlights, I know I'm forgetting a lot of things that have happened this year, but this is just what I've pulled from photos from my laptop, or things I've posted to my Instagram, or just things I've tried to remember off the top of my head that have led to other things, and the last thing that I have written down, at least, is I've finally found a church that I can settle at, and I can feel like I could maybe stay there. There are some downsides to that, which maybe I'll just go right into. So I found a church, which has been nice, because I wasn't going for a while. So I hopped around a bunch with my parents and kept thinking, oh, I found one, and then after a while it just didn't feel right. And then I kind of wasn't going for a while. And I like that I found one, but my other struggle is I don't have a group of friends. I don't really have a lot of friends. I don't have a small group / Bible study that I can go to and feel like I'm learning and I'm growing, and I'm just surrounding myself with other people like me, and I'm not really getting I don't really have a social life. So that's something I would like, that's leading into goals, but that's something I'd like to change. So that's something next year I'd like to do. Struggles. So this is going to tie into the job portion. I'm so thankful for the job I have right now. But in order to, I'm off my parents' insurance next year, and which scares me. And in order to support myself, I either need a second job or just one full-time job, in order to feel stable, and in order to feel like I can support myself, and just in order to bring peace to myself. Another thing is I want to move out. I would eventually like to move out. This has been a great first home outside my parents' home. But I don't really want to stay here forever. I mean, again, this is a really nice house, and it's really cute, and I've loved being here. But also, again, I can't afford anywhere else because of my job situation. So a lot of this is kind of tying into each other. So job, to support myself, to maybe one day move out. I don't know. unless I want to move to a different town where it might be cheaper, which I've kind of explored but kind of haven't, just because over the past couple of years I've lost a lot of friends and I've kind of gone through a lot of struggles, and I'm kind of in a bubble, and I don't want to pop that bubble, and I struggle with stepping out of my comfort zone and doing things different. I'm not a huge fan of change, but in order to progress in life, I need to do that. I need to step out of my comfort zone, and I need to do new things, and I need to make the changes that I want to see. So there's that. Another thing that happened this year was I was diagnosed with anxiety. I kind of knew I struggled with some of this, but like I was kind of officially diagnosed with anxiety and OCD and depression, and then like some ADD and ADHD, so like all of that is so when I was very young, probably like 6 or 7, my parents will know for sure what age was, but I was diagnosed with Tourette syndrome. Very, very minor case, I think is the word, or form, I don't know. And it's common for people with Tourette's to get things like anxiety and OCD, depression, ADD, and ADHD, but it's very rare to have all 5. So that's a little overwhelming. And with that came some like medications that are mostly supposed to help me sleep, because I struggle with like turning my brain off at night. Sometimes it's just spinning with possibilities and scenarios and just things that I wish could happen or I wish I'd done different, and I have a lot of issues. And something that I have been wanting to do but also have been afraid to do is which my doctor recommended, was go to therapy, talk to someone so that I don't have it all up in here and it's not just building all up in here, and then I end up talking out loud to myself in my car, which I do a lot, because I feel like I don't really have anyone else to talk to, which I shouldn't always feel like that, because I know I'm a Christian and I know that God's got a plan for my life and He's always watching out for me. Sometimes it's hard to remember that. Sometimes it's hard to forget that you're not alone. And I struggle with that. I struggle with loneliness, and in addition to everything else, hang on. Yeah, right. It's hard to forget I'm not alone and I have someone watching over me and someone who loves me and someone who's got a plan. I also struggle with being patient and listening, which I feel like if I am able to find some kind of church group, maybe that'll help. I've tried devotional books just on my own, and as I've mentioned before, I kind of have commitment issues, so sometimes I'll just get so caught up in other things that I'll forget to do it. I've tried to do it in the mornings, then I tried doing it at night before bed, and then the gym got in the way, and I really should prioritize that above anything else, which could be another goal I add to my 2019 list. Sorry, I can't really write and talk at the same time. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but that's kind of what I've been struggling with a lot, is just mostly just needing a social community where I can grow, instead of feeling like every year is the same and I'm just staying in the same spot. And I'm growing physically, but not mentally or spiritually or anything like that. So why don't we move on to some things I'd like to do in 2019. I've kind of touched base on some of them. I would like to move out, get a different job, a stable job. Okay, so moving out, job, and then therapy, touched base on that a little bit, and then finding a church group, getting connected. My cousin does this where she has a home church, but then she tries out other churches, like young adult groups, I guess is the word. And then the biggest thing, which I've mentioned briefly before in I think my Get to Know Me video, is that I'd like to go back to school. I've been thinking about, so going back to the whole job thing, ever since I got my current job, I've still been looking for other jobs, and I fill out millions of applications. Sometimes I get, rejection emails. A lot of times I get rejection emails, and a lot of the times I just never hear anything. If I'm lucky enough to get an interview, same thing. They'll say, hey, we'll let you know either way, but then they don't. I've maybe had someone actually follow through with an interview maybe twice, and obviously it's been no, which is really discouraging when you're in a town as small as mine and it's hard to find work. My mom kept saying, maybe this is a sign that you're supposed to go back to school. And up until recently, I didn't want to go back to school because A, I really didn't like school, and B, I didn't know what I wanted to go back to school for, and thought that it'd be a waste of money to just go back to school just to go, or just because, to fill my time. But recently, I finally thought of something that I could go back to school for and actually enjoy going back to school for, which is American Sign Language. But I took sign language in high school for 2 years. I think they let me take it as my foreign language, because I went to high school part-time because I was homeschooled. But still I had to do a foreign language, and I did sign language, and I really liked it. It was hard because I had to take it as an online class, and it's really hard to learn sign language online instead of face-to-face. And so I took that for 2 years, and I really liked it. And then ever since, it would pop up in my head occasionally as, oh, that's a skill I wish I would have continued with. I remember random signs, and I can still do the alphabet, and I can count to 10. And yeah, I remember random words. But then I went to a concert with my parents in November. I went to a Danny Goki concert, and it was fantastic. And there was an interpreter there, and I found myself watching her almost more than I was watching the performers. And I was like, that's what if I ever went back to school, that's what I would do, because I want to learn to be a voice for people like that and to help people like that. But I would really like to do that, and I've been looking into Western Oregon University, which is in Monmouth. And what I need to do to get to that, I talk a lot, sorry, is my goals list is I need to email someone about officially transferring, because I went to a community college a couple years ago, so I need to find someone to get in contact with to figure out how to make that happen, and then set up a meeting with someone to figure out when I could start, what I need to do to officially sign up and enroll, and then what my schedule would have to look like, if I could work on the side, if I would have to move down there, I don't know if I could stay here and commute, all that stuff, which is scary for me, but at the same time exciting, because I would go back to school for this. But I need to either call someone or email someone at the school, or both in order to figure out how to get all of this started. My 2018 was, the first half of the year was a struggle. And then I'm going to say a majority of my year was a struggle. Just for me, mentally, emotionally. It had its good moments, but a lot of those good moments were temporary. And some of the sadness and loneliness would kind of take over, and I feel like it should be the opposite. Not necessarily saying that I should be happy all the time, but I shouldn't be sad all the time either. So a lot of my 2018 was a struggle, but I'm slowly starting to learn from those struggles. My laptop's in the way, but I had this idea to take my list of said goals and put them on this big piece of cardstock that I took from my mom. Thanks, Mom. I'm not an artist, but I want to put it on here in some fun way, maybe with markers or something, and make this a big, like, goal list. And then I would like to hang this in my room. The foundation in the house is kind of sucky, so it's kind of hard to hang anything, but maybe I can put it up with like duct tape or something. And that's what I would like to do in order to make this next year a better one. If you can relate to anything I've said, let me know. It's hard when all you see on social media is all the good things that have happened to people, because you know they've struggled too. And I understand if some people don't want to share the struggle they've gone through, but sometimes it's helpful to know that you're not alone. So if you struggle with anything like this, let me know if you want, and maybe we can bond over our struggles. I don't know, sometimes that's nice, but like it just feels good to kind of get things out to someone and know that they can relate on some level. But I think I've talked enough, and this is going to be a really long video. But to sum it up, 2018 will soon be behind me. I'm going to be excited for 2019. And I'm going to change things. I'm going to hopefully change things. Done with this video and with Vlogmas. It's been an honor flying with you. It's been a wild ride. Thanks to you guys who've been sticking around and watching. I hope you guys have a safe New Year's and a great 2019.